updates on sports stories across the globe, Aaron Akirijola joins us. Good morning, Aaron.
Yeah, good morning to you, Aya. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you, Rufai.
Aaron, don't talk about Premiership.
I can see, Aya, you're done in red today,
Yes.
and not the greatest of weekends for you, but nevertheless. Let's actually start it off with Arsenal. And Arsenal, over the weekend, actually will feel that they lost 2 points on the day. Tottenham Hotspur put out a valiant fight, I must actually say, but everyone seems to be praising Bukayo Saka because he played his 86th consecutive Premier League matches. So 2 seasons and counting. This is the 3rd season he hasn't missed a game for Arsenal. Quite commendable. You can actually see there when you look at the number of contributions for the team. 19 matches played, 90 goal involvement. Bukayo Saka, and this man actually scored his 149th and 150th goal, talking about human son, for the Lily-Whites Tottenham Hotspur on the day. And ultimately, it ended 2-2. But let's talk about the fact that Chelsea actually did lose on the day. They lost 1-0. Ole Watkins actually inflicting much pain on the Mauricio Pochettino. A lot of people are asking big questions. Are Chelsea in crisis at the moment? Yes. But this is what Pochettino had to say. Of course, talking about the Chelsea Lions, are disappointed, but they need to just believe in the plan, okay? They need to support the plan, believe in the plan. He's called out the players for actually putting up subpar performance. But when you actually look at it, Erling Haaland has got 43 goals, same as Chelsea. And that's his last season. Now, if you look at this season alone, Chelsea are actually wearing the cloak of relegation at the moment, because when you see what has happened in 6 games, they've barely scored goals. They've scored only 5 goals in about 6 games when you look at it closely. And you look at all the other goal involvements, of course, 1 win, 3 losses, 5 goals scored. They're 14th on the table, and they spent over $1 billion at the moment, and nothing to show for it. It's unfortunate this is happening, but this is the Premier League. It's a league that will chew you out and spit you out if you flinch. And of course, Domino Pizzas tried to shade Chelsea by saying that they've actually delivered over 800,000 pizzas since Chelsea last scored a goal. As a matter of fact, Chelsea have actually played since last season. They've gone 13 games. They've played 13 games where they didn't score any goal at all, which is not good enough. Away from that, to the other Premier League games that actually were played, certainly after looking at Chelsea's loss to Aston Villa on the day, of course, Newcastle United did something remarkable. 8 different scorers on the day for them as they actually took to the cleaners, the Blades, Sheffield United. So they became the first team to have 8 different goal scorers in a single match. Kudos to Newcastle United and the Magpies for doing that particular feat on the day. So also Liverpool were actually in action over the weekend, but you look at the table at the moment, you find out that massive for Liverpool. They've been able to close the gap with Manchester City at the moment. For Arsenal, they're not trailing by 4 points. So as it stands, it's still very tight. It's still very early in the season. Anything can happen at the moment. But Manchester City are the team to beat. They are the defending champions, and they've been ruling the roost. Now, away from that quickly, let's actually move on to Atletico Madrid. Yesterday in the Madrid derby, they actually beat Real Madrid 3-1. Real Madrid losing that particular one, meaning that they will not be topping the table, and Barcelona actually taking that particular honor by actually leaving it late and delivering. But all that matters at the moment is the fact that Barcelona seem to be on the run, and Real Madrid have been living dangerously. Late goals by Jude Bellingham has been saving them, but not yesterday. Now, quickly into Formula One. And one particular team celebrated heavily. Yes, of course, winning the Constructors' title back-to-back. Right now, Christian Horner can actually pat himself on the back because he's delivered back-to-back titles. You can actually see this season alone, 15 wins, 23 podiums, and still counting, because in the Japanese Grand Prix, they decided to dominate. Right now, 400 points is what this man has, talking about Verstappen and Perez, 223. It's almost done and dusted. At the moment, it's more of a procession than a race. Away from that, quickly, something Timo Biles has been speaking up against a viral video that actually happened last year and happened to a black player in Ireland. And probably let's get to take the video, then react to this. Of course, she was the only black player, the black athlete in that particular junior athletics and gymnastics team that actually won medals. And that woman there in the picture with the Irish gymnastics purposely, because she claimed after this video surfaced over the weekend, this actually happened last year, after the video surfaced over the weekend, they went after the woman, the Irish Gymnastics Federation issued a statement, and the woman said that she forgot. And it was very, very clear, because if you see the full length of the video, she still had a medal. Even when she went off the screen to get more medals, at the end of the day, she still had a medal in her possession, and she refused to give it to this black athlete. And a lot of people have been speaking and actually screaming that this is racism at its highest, or this is a very brazen act of racism. It's unfortunate this is happening. And finally, Megan Rapinoe called it quits.
Yeah.
After a very illustrious career.
Legend.
She's been a great servant for the U.S. women's national team. Yeah. But I must say that every good thing comes to an end.
Congrats, Megan Rapinoe. She came, she saw, she conquered. Yeah. Sadly, she couldn't win her last World Cup as a final cutting call, but Megan Rapinoe gave it all. She's a fighter.
Yes, she is.
She fought for the rights of women in sport. She's an icon. You know, when I see Megan Rapinoe, she might just probably be a modern-day Billie Jean King. Yeah. You know, kudos to her. Concerning Formula One, great one. Really excited for Red Bull. Anyway, I'm not a big supporter of Red Bull. I'm more of a Mercedes supporter because of Hamilton. But I'm excited for them. And it was quite historic because it was the 75th anniversary of Honda. Yeah. And Honda makes the powertrain unit for the engine that is running that Red Bull machine.
No, used to.
Okay.
Used to. So they Honda handed the old technology and everything to what they call a Red Bull, and they've taken it from there. But it's still Honda's engine. But it's still Honda's technology.
Intellectual property is?
It's still Honda's.
Simple.
Okay.
So, and they celebrated their 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
The point I was trying to make is the fact that if they are told Honda that at their 75th anniversary, because when Honda came on the grid and started making powertrain units for engines and things like that, they used to mock the Honda engine, just like they mocked a lot of cars out of Japan out there. True. But who would have thought that now the car dominating and winning at the 75th anniversary is a car that is made, you know, from their powertrain unit. And that's kudos to Honda and what they've done in Suzuka around there. But I also have to point out something. I get the slant about Hamilton, but Hamilton should watch this rivalry with George Russell. They almost ruined the race. True. There was an incident, because I took out time to watch the Suzuka Grand Prix around 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. There was an incident where George Russell wanted to overtake and Hamilton almost pushed him out of the track. And George Russell had to react and say, are we fighting each other or we're fighting the others? And that was very, very instructive.
Well, you and I know that.
I know there's rivalry and all of that. You and I know that
Hamilton, when he's on the track.
But he should be careful.
No friends.
Because
no friends.
Hamilton was asked to do that same favor for George Russell when they were pushing to the last lap. And he did it easily for him. George Russell just got out of the way for him so that he could attack and Carl Sainz couldn't catch him any longer.
All right, so that video you showed of the little girl in Dublin happened last year, 2022, and it is sickening to imagine that such an incident would happen. This video ought to be something that played in 1970s or 50s. To imagine that racism is still very blatant in sport, and to think that young children, young girls like this will be targeted. This is enough to put off a budding sports star.
But she must be commended. She kept a
because
very
children
smart.
are innocent. Children, they don't know. It's her mother that was actually fighting for her. And the Irish Sports League, Federation had said, they had reached an agreement with them, apologized to her. But I think that's not enough. It took a leak of this video because this has taken months, almost over a year now.
Over a year.
Yes. Simone Biles has sent a video, that's four-time Olympic winner, a video message to the young girl. But beyond that, it's the fact that if this isn't kicked out, the mother has said this video should even be taken off streams because they then become targeted being in Ireland. It is sickening to see this. They've tried all kinds of campaigns. So you wonder why racism still persists in sports and why they're not doing enough. And I think one of the reasons is this. The Irish government, the Irish Sports Federation ought to have done more. Yeah. They swept this under the carpet.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they said they apologized privately to the girl. No, if they want to stop this, they must wield the big stick for any offender.
And the unfortunate thing is, the lady in question, she didn't show any kind of remorse.
Of course she didn't, because
she was not
They
There was no
protect them. They shield them. They cover it up. What happened to the Spaniard, the coach that kissed the girl, should have happened to this person. It should have been a worldwide roar. If this doesn't happen, it will consistently and continue to happen in sports if there's no heavy consequence for this absolute horrific behavior.
Well, it's just as well that we commend Simone Biles for intervening, for showing leadership.
Yes.
Apart from being a 3-time Olympic champion, she also has shown that she recognizes, the leadership position that she, occupies. And now, in this particular instance, she's come out in support of this young lady who was treated badly in March 2022. The Gymnastics Ireland says that they've resolved the matter by August 2023. But we also must commend, along with Biles, all the other people who have also spoken up, because it's all over social media, and particularly the mother of the young girl, who says, yes, it's true that you have returned the medal, but that medal you have returned, you have to offer a public apology. That's what, and her tenacity is instructive. And she's taking the matter all the way to the level of the federation to say that, this is unacceptable behavior. And we all agree with her, whether it is in gymnastics involving young ladies or football, where we've been talking about racism, ad nauseum, with people doing monkey calls, against players that they think are not of the same color with them. Racism of any sort is not acceptable in sports. And I think that this is another instance. And I hope that as the mother has requested, this will not continue to be played up, because you don't want this young lady to grow up and then have this memory of discrimination.
Social media
Now, the woman that did that to her, do you know that she left? She left the gymnastics, Ireland, such that even if the body wants to sanction her, she has already left. But I think that the media should name and shame her, because I've not seen in any of the reports where she has been properly identified. One thing that can be done is to name and shame her. As for Formula One, well, what Verstappen has just proven as Suzuka is that, look, you can't write me off. Yeah? About 2 weeks ago, Red Bull didn't do too well in Singapore.
So just a bleep.
Yes, but now, very emphatic victory.
Yeah.
Dominated the practice, dominated the race, and even finally settled the matter about people trying to compare his teammate as Perez to him. Perez didn't do so well. And look at the gap, in terms of points. So Verstappen putting his stamp on it. And then Osimhen lost penalty shot. It's okay. Don't let's dwell on it. It happens. Bigger stars have lost penalty. And finally, Chelsea. You were talking about Chelsea. I think, yes, over 1 billion investment. But the truth of the matter is that perhaps Todd Boehly made a mistake by insisting on buying young, inexperienced players that he thought would grow and, become superstars. Well, what Chelsea is learning now is that the Premier League is a different ball game. It's not a testing ground for young and upcoming people, academic kind of players. But it's good as well that Pochettino says we take responsibility. He says we will not blame the VAR, we will not blame the referee. It's just that we need to work harder. Maybe Chelsea one of these days would rediscover his old glory.
Or some, like you say, go and apologize and appease the gods, who is Roman Abramovich, who they've offended.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.